Let's go buy some yarn. So now that I've got my yarn, it's time to come up with the plan. So in exchange for a beautiful top that they're gonna sew, Heather requested that I recreate this 2008 Ann Dolmeister crochet scarf. This shawl is definitely outside of my usual style. It's a lot more edgy than the pieces that I typically make, but I'm really excited to kind of work in this different style. That being said, I am a little bit nervous because I'm actually not quite sure how this shawl was made. It's very organic. There aren't a lot of like straight edges, as you can see here. So after staring at this photo for a very long time, here are a few things that I noticed. Number one, there are definitely a lot of treble crochet clusters being used, especially on the back of the shawl. It also seems like the shawl is mostly made up of double crochets, but honestly, as I zoomed in, I think these also just might be treble crochet, so I'll have to experiment there. To create that mesh look, they're definitely doing a stitch, chaining one, skipping a stitch, and then doing another stitch, so that I feel confident on. The other thing is that it looks like there are ribbons being used for these kind of tassels. Initially, I thought it was just pieces of yarn, but if I zoom in more, it looks almost flat like ribbon, so I think that is what's being used. There's also a sparkly yarn being used for the border of the shawl. And then finally, the overall shape. Now this one, I'm gonna move this question mark over here because I first thought it was a triangle shape because that's what shawls usually are, but there obviously is not a pointed edge at the back, which is usually what happens. So upon reflection, I think this actually might be more of a trapezoid shape. But with all that in mind, here's what I think I'm going to do. At a high level, I believe the overall shape that I am aspiring to is almost like a trapezoid or a gentle triangle, maybe more of a trapezoid. I think it makes more sense to start at the bottom because eventually I'll need to create clusters, and I think it's easier to increase with clusters rather than decrease. So I'll start by making a medium length chain, and this will be double crochets. As I work my way up, I will do a double crochet, chain one, skip a stitch, double crochet to just create that mesh look. While I do that, I will do increases on the side, And then at a certain point in this kind of middle section, I'll need to start doing clusters of treble crochets. And then I'll switch back to doing this kind of mesh pattern. And then the final kind of long edge, and this is going to be the part that kind of drapes around the neck. This will of course be solid double crochets. I might switch to that sparkly yarn or just keep it solid black. And then for the tassels, it looks like they're just kind of tied on. So I guess I'll tie on the yarn I bought. I didn't buy ribbon because I didn't think it would be easy to machine wash with the rest of the shawl. So I bought this almost like tube-like yarn that I think kind of mimics the thickness of the ribbon. So I guess I'll just tie it on in places. It's very organic looking, so I think I'll just kind of go with the flow, but it seems like it's all tied along the edges. So this is very messy, but I hope that made sense in terms of my thought process, and let's find out together if this ends up working. Okay, so we made pretty good progress on my art trade project today. We went yarn shopping, so we have all the supplies we need. We made a plan for how to tackle this project, so honestly I think that's enough for one day, and tomorrow I'll actually get started on taking a first pass at making this shawl. Tomorrow I'm also going to be doing a bookbinding class, which I'm really excited about, so I'll take you along with me for that tomorrow. But for the rest of today, I think I'm just gonna eat dinner and watch TV and then go to bed. So yeah, that's it. Okay, good morning. I'm gonna do my skincare really quickly. It is Sunday. Normally I do my skincare, of course, in the bathroom, but the light is better out here and we get to chat. So recently, me and my boyfriend went to a multi-country trip in Asia. So we went to Japan, we went to a few cities in Japan. Then we went to Taipei and we went to Seoul, and while we were in Seoul, Nono did a skincare analysis at one of the clinics in Gangnam, and while he was doing it I was like, okay, like let me try that too. Long story short, my skin is worse than his, but honestly like it makes sense because his like medicine cabinet is like filled to the brim while mine is definitely a lot more minimal. But one of the skin concerns that I had on my report was that my skin is super dry. So when I came back, I was like, okay, I gotta lock in, get on my hydration game more. So that is what all these products are for, just to try to help my skin get more hydration. Today I have my 12 o'clock bookbinding class, which I'm really excited about. I think I took my first one maybe like a year ago now, and I wasn't expecting to like it so much. But yeah, it was just like very therapeutic, easy to kind of learn. So today I'm gonna learn a new binding stitch. But before I do that, I'm hoping to get a little bit of editing in. I'm really behind on my content for the next week. But right now, I'm really trying to take my content seriously, so I need to get some videos put together. I think I have enough time to just do a little voiceover for this one short form video that I'm working on. And I can go a little bit into my like content journey. I'm happy to do like a full video if anyone is curious. I started crocheting and posting videos on like TikTok like during the pandemic, and I found like, you know, kind of like immediate success, which was really nice, but because of that I just fell into this pattern of like making things to like chase views, unfortunately, and I just got like really burnt out I was also starting like my first big girl job out of college, so trying to like navigate how to balance that while also making content and just like enjoying my hobbies. So all of that kind of culminated into like a creative burnout. And I stopped like making content for like a year, and I stopped like crocheting anything for a year, and it just was like really not great. So this past year though, I wanted to get back into it because I do enjoy like making and editing videos, and ultimately like I always want my content to be helpful for people. I find it really difficult to just like make content for the sake of it. Like I always want it to have a purpose to like help people, and so in the past it was helping people like find free crochet patterns, because I taught myself how to crochet for free, and it really like changed my perspective on like my relationship with my creativity. It just gave me this like practical but also like creative outlet, and so I want to make sure people have the opportunity to find that for themselves if that, you know, does end up being crochet for them, and to not have to spend like a ton of money on patterns or lessons. My main goal in the past was to help surface those resources for people through like other people's free crochet patterns or making free crochet patterns myself, and that's definitely something I want to continue. But right now I'm trying to think about how do I incorporate more of myself and like my personality into my content and just my life. And one of the things about me is like I kind of pride myself on being like really type A and like organized, but I am trying to like scale it back a little bit, go with the flow. So I consider myself kind of like a recovering type A girly, but I do think one of my strengths is my organization. So something I'm thinking about with my content and the direction for the rest of the year is how do I help people try to find that like creative balance between working like their 9 to 5, their hobbies, you know, whatever life stuff, and just kind of giving advice on that while also continuing my kind of like core crochet content and just hobby content as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking about for the direction. If there's anything that you are, you know, struggling with when it comes to finding hobbies, you know, creative kind of like balance, making time for your hobbies, please let me know in the comments below. Your feedback is truly a gift, because again, like I want to make content that is helpful for people, that, you know, can maybe make their lives a little bit better. And, you know, I need, you know, your inputs to kind of help shape the direction of my content. So anyways, that's a little spiel. Again, I could probably talk a lot longer about what it's like to create content, like my setup, all of that stuff. I do not consider myself an expert by any means. I feel definitely like I'm still kind of like learning. So I could go all into that. If anyone's interested, let me know. But with that, I'm gonna start editing my video before I have to go to my class.